Hey, everybody, it's a beautiful day here in Boquete. Oh, my God, what a beautiful day. And wow, and we're going to have such a great discussion today with one of our famous favorite people here. But first of all, this is the weekend kickoff with me, Mike Schwartz.
And me, Patrick Reynolds.
Patrick,
Hi.
how are you doing?
Well, you know what? I'm getting by. I'm clinging to life. I'm doing okay. I'm
All
good.
right.
I'm fine. I'm all right. There's nothing wrong with me.
No, who would ever think that? Something wrong with you? Nobody, ever.
No. But like I said earlier, I'm really pleased that I sobered up enough to make it here today because it's great to get out of the house.
We are. We're all happy. And, let's just get right away.
Yeah.
While we have this quiet time between us,
quiet
this
time.
moment of silence between us.
Indeed.
Where we can think and process.
Let's
just take a moment and relax before we talk to our first guest.
All right. Take a moment to just chill.
One of our favorite guests, our favorite people in Boquete, Priscilla Raquel, everybody.
Yay!
Welcome to the weekend kickoff.
Thunderous applause.
And we love you, Priscilla. Priscilla, we have to catch up with you every so often. You're always invited here, and we want to have you on a regular basis to find out what's going on, because you're like the queen of doing good, in Boquete.
Yeah. No, it's super exciting, and thank you for giving us this opportunity. It does give me a chance to kind of share, how we've evolution. This project is kind of started off. I had no idea what I was doing. I still have no idea what I'm doing. I get up every morning and I'm like, okay. But so far, it's been really, really fun. We just got back from Panama City, so I can share some cool stuff about that.
All right, cool.
Well, you seem to travel quite a bit, because I always see these little Facebook things. Hey, I'm in so-and-so, or I'm over here, or I'm here.
Yeah. Well, so this year was for the first time since moving here to Panama. I actually left the country, so I went to Bogota for a few days right before school started, because I knew it was just going to be super busy, and so far it has. And then now, through us being part of a TV program nomination thing several months ago, they awarded us with some sort of community leadership workship. That we're doing through one of the local universities.
So who's the they? You have to tell us who the they
Yeah,
is.
who's they?
The national TV chain, I guess, would be similar to like an ABC or NBC, which is
a network.
TVN, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, TVN, yes.
Yeah, so TVN, every year they do a show called Heroes for Panama.
Oh, wow.
And so then we were nominated as a foundation, or my friend Elga was nominated, because they actually put a face to the foundation.
Okay.
And so then when that happened, she told him, she's like, look, well, all we really, really have going on is this awesome project in Boquete. If you really want us to be a part of this, you guys are going to have to bring your film crew. You're going to have to do everything and come up to Boquete.
Yeah.
And so they did that. And I think it was November when it aired. And we didn't win the popular vote of the night or whatever. But part of it was the television network partnered with one of the local private universities in Panama City, and they're offering this leadership training for everybody that participated. So it's a once-a-month thing where we're going to Panama City and sitting around with other people that are involved in these foundations and doing a lot of really cool stuff, and kind of learning from each other, probably more so than learning from the instructors. But Wednesday was the first class that we did. So we took Edie's, which is our cook from Jaramillo. She hasn't been to Panama in 12 years.
Oh, wow.
So for her, it was like, oh my goodness. And so then
12 years.
That's a long time to stay away.
Yeah. So, and I think it goes to show sometimes when we talk about the disconnect that sometimes people that are living in these rural communities have from the rest of Panamanian society, that's a perfect example of someone that has no clue what's going on pretty much outside of Boquete. So their worldview of what they're seeing and the problems that they're seeing is just really, really local. And then you have the people from Panama City that have no contact with people like Edie's. So these opportunities are really cool. Most of the biggest thing is to find out, hey, for her self-confidence to know that she's not missing out on anything, that, people in the city also have no clue what they're doing. That's kind of the bigger thing. You kind of go there and then you kind of realize, because you depreciate yourself and you put other people on pedestals, and then something happens and you get to go and you interact with these people. You're like, oh my goodness, they have no clue, just like I have no clue.
Yeah.
So it's
so did this TV network ever think like maybe they could also recognize two guys on the microphone with a radio show?
You know what? I think so. I
Radio Chiriquí.
I think we can work towards that.
Because
I'm feeling a little depressed.
You want to go
right
to
now.
go to a gala in Panama City?
I wouldn't mind. It's just fun to be nominated, but here we are.
Yeah.
Talking to the best people of Panama,
and we constantly hunger and thirst for fame and glory. So
and donuts
and
pizza.
Okay, well then so I'll get right on that. Next month when I go, I'm like, hey, you guys, you got two awesome people. Yeah,
you can do it.
Yeah, so we'll get you guys part of the fame train.
Well, we're here every week talking to people, musicians, and all kinds of people, and. Yeah, it would be fun, I'd like to accept something, I would like to accept this on behalf of...
I think I just saw our next guest leaving the property.
Oh, okay.
Maybe they... Hey, Ectothermia, if you're listening, we're in the little shack out here.
We're in the little shack. Yeah. Come back.
Come back.
Come back to the shack.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, it's fine.
For Priscilla, that's just a breather. It gives her a chance
to take
one breath for the next 20 minutes.
I found my dream job. I get paid to talk.
Yeah, that is your dream job. That is a dream job.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's fabulous.
We love you, Priscilla.
No,
we
I love it.
You.
No,
I've
we
love
always gotten in trouble for talking. So
you do. I am just so impressed with what you do, especially I've told you this before. Feeding children, to me, hungry children, is the best work anybody can do in their life.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, and I think the coolest part, and I really want to just say, I think what made what I'm doing so different is just I realized early on that I didn't want to do it by myself. And I think that's kind of the biggest thing is I was just trying to figure out, is there somebody already doing something that's similar to what my passions are.
Right.
And so I think that got me really ahead of the game. And that would be something that I would encourage, and I talk about it a lot on my Facebook, is encouraging expats to see if there's foundations that have already been established that they can be a part of. Because that really got me to where, I could have went on and tried to start my own foundation and spent all kinds of money and said, the Priscilla whatever foundation. Right. But then it would have taken me at least 5 years to actually really be able to use the funds and the time to really help anybody. So actually finding a foundation that was already established that I could just kind of jump in and get to work is just what I think is making the difference. And I think that this thing of going to Panama City, I'm finding out there's so many foundations or people that are already trying to do things, and they may just need more networking or help with just getting the word out. And so then, it's like everything. There's nothing new under the sun. We can just got to find, someone.
But let's be clear. You are the James Brown of, promotion in Boquete. You're the hardest working woman
in show
Boquete, in show business. Because aside from all the charity things, you either do you own part of the restaurant or
so I'm a part of so part of it was a joint venture when we started, and a lot of the things that I'm involved in is just because.
And say the name of the restaurant.
Nodri.
Nobody knows how to say that.
I know, as long as they know how to get there, that's all I care about.
It's the G. The G after the N.
Yeah, it's the G and the A that throws everybody off. But the idea with the restaurant was just kind of like with everything else that we do is you got to create spaces where we all just kind of come together. So my idea was, I think it's just this part of me that wants to connect the two parts of me, which is, you know, a girl from Kansas and then also this girl from Chiriquí, and say, hey, I want us to be in a room together. And so what does that look like? That looks like, you know, inviting my expat friends to come into these spaces that they normally wouldn't even know exist. And I think that that's kind of the cool part of being able to share these stories and all of that. So that kind of permeates into the restaurant things that I do, or any type of promotion, or even the foundation. It's just saying, hey, like, I want my Panamanian friends to meet my gringo friends and vice versa. So
yeah, hands across the water, that kind of a thing.
You know, I just realized when a lot of gringos come to Panama and they hear Spanish spoken, and they go, wow, the people are speaking really fast. And most of the people say, no, it's just normal. That's how we speak. But I just realized you speak English really fast. really fast. I don't know if I've heard you speak Spanish, but I would be afraid. I'm very afraid.
Hablas inglés más rápido.
Yeah. I grew up in the States, and I have to, like, pay attention. You're, like, going at record speed, you know? It's like having 5 guests in 1 hour.
I know, that's kind of cool, really.
I think part of it, too, for me was, you know, one of those things where you feel this need to try to say exactly what you need to say really fast before you lose people's attention. So it's like, hello, my name is Priscilla, and I went to school, and this is what I do, and this is what I do for a living, and you're trying to,
no.
So.
You know, I love the message. I love everything.
Yeah.
Everything that you do. You're like you're a big promoter. You're I don't know what the kids call it these days. You're like you do social media, you do.
Yeah, so I do a little bit of everything.
You work for the bakery as well.
Yeah, I work for Morton's, which has been really, really fun. And one of the things is because I'm a very curious person. So I think, again, all of this comes from the curiosity that I have of kind of knowing stuff for myself, and then I'll learn about it, and I'm like, hey, I think other people would like to hear about this or taste this or experience this. And so then you kind of just start openly talking about it and be like, hey, I did this yesterday and this is what I learned. And I also try to be really clear about the times that I feel like I failed or I haven't figured it out or I don't know what I'm doing, because I think it's really important to share that message as well. So yeah, I kind of live this little open book life where I'm just kind of tripping along, living in my own Disney movie, and it works out pretty good.
Seems to be working okay for you, girl.
So far, so good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I believe it is a Disney movie. I think you probably have birds helping you out,
little enchanted creatures,
tying things together,
the squirrels clean house,
bows, things like that.
It feels like it sometimes.
It.
I mean, I think especially with Jaramillo, watching what we've been able to do there. I mean, watching Edie's, who when we first met her, was even scared to speak to us, and now knowing she's still in Panama City right now, she's shadowing at one of the busiest restaurants in Panama City. There's Burger Week going on in Panama City. So Panama.
What are we doing here? Let's go.
Yeah, okay, so this is a thing, and then again, these are some of these things that us here in Boquete don't know about. But there's a group in Panama City that have started this thing called Panama Week. And so what Panama Week is just this organization where they promote different types of cuisine during limited amounts of time, and every chef or restaurant has to come together with a recipe that they present it, and then people go and they buy these whatever it is and they vote, and then the most popular person leaves with this. Yeah. So this week is the Burger Week, and so the restaurant where Edie's is shadowing is one of the finalists. So they have lines like out the door and around the corner, and this is our little cook from Jaramillo in the middle of the line, just like putting these burgers together. That is great. And so I mean, it's a cool experience for her.
Sure.
Wow. That's very cool.
So I'll make sure to let you guys know when the next, I think Wings Week is coming up, and then they have.
Are we going to have those here too? Burger Week here, and
I know that they do have some sort of Burger Week that they do. With some of the restaurants in David, but I don't know if they bring the whole. But hey, we can make a road trip.
We need Burger Week. We need Burger Week. We want Burger Week.
We need to make a trip to Panama City. There's so many. I tried to because I wasn't there for very long, and I had one that was amazing. They made this like chicharrón, but it was from yuca. It was so
really?
awesome. Yeah, with
Oh.
like tasajo meat, which is like the smoked meat with the burger, and then some sort of pepper sauce. It was amazing. And then another one that I tried had like pastrami meat that was like so. I mean, it's so amazing.
Oh, no.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm drooling on the microphone.
So
here.
definitely now that I know, like, man, we should really kind of let people know, because I mean, we could take a bus and get sloshed and drink some beer. And
Yeah.
can I say that on air? I don't know.
Bus,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not the
some-
driver. Don't let him.
Sign me up.
Yeah. So
Sounds good.
You know, it's interesting because since I moved here, I've noticed a market improvement in the quality of burgers around Boquete right here.
I think
you know?
it's hard to find a bad burger.
It is
The
now.
burgers
Yeah.
are very, very good.
One of my favorites are, I don't know if have you guys been to Musk Burger?
Have not been to
Okay,
Oh,
so
no, I haven't been there
Musk
yet. We
has
should do a burger crawl
So
for
okay,
the show.
so it's I don't know where the old like Grace Bible Church used to be, where
Yes,
Servitechnics
yes,
is now.
yes,
Well,
yes.
right next to that,
Yeah.
there's this little food truck, and it's called Musk Burger, and it's a family ran. It's a father and a son. And he actually worked, I want to say he lived a long time in the U.S. and like worked in like oil rigs or something like that. And then he comes back, and his dream is to have this little burger place.
Wow,
And they
how
have
fun.
really awesome burgers. I really like their
Yeah.
burgers. So yeah, try it
Yeah.
out. That's something
I
here
mean,
in
if
town.
you're into food at all, Boquete is just overflowing with
Yeah.
with cool. I just heard. I think there was something new. There's something new in town.
Something new?
Whether it's a Thai, is there like a new Thai?
Oh,
shop?
that would
Wait
be
a second.
awesome.
Do not mention that if you're not sure.
Yeah,
sure.
you started a
Because-
riot.
Wait a
bro.
second, because someone had posted something about Thai, and I said yes, that would be awesome. And people thought that I was opening up a Thai restaurant, and people were starting
Oh.
asking me. So be careful if
Oh,
you say
boy.
there's
Yeah,
a Thai
no,
place.
I
So
don't-
what's in your Thai restaurant?
Exactly. Like, don't mention Thai. Don't mention Thai.
I don't even want to sell ties or
Yeah,
shirts or
no.
anything. want
I
nothing-
have heard there's one of my friends today from David posted that very soon he's going to be opening up a branch of his restaurant here, which is like Panamanian type. I don't know if any of you guys have been in David to Mezcla.
Oh,
Mezcla, yeah.
oh, we love Mezcla.
We've
Yeah,
been there
so Chef
together.
Alex.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, so Chef
Oh, their
Alex today
burgers are amazing.
posted that coming soon, sometime, somewhere, we're gonna have something here.
Yay.
We'll get this.
Oh,
So
that would be
I'm
fabulous.
Have you
like-
been? You've been there.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes. Chef
Yes.
Alex. And Chef Alex has actually done stuff with our Chef Alex at Nodri. We did this fusion thing that was actually really good.
No Dree.
Ooh.
That's how you say it.
No
No
Dree.
Dree.
Nodri.
Nobody knows
The
how to say
Battle of the Alexes.
The thing that
sounds
scares me
amazing.
about Mexico, this is a joke, but I mean it's true. But it's a great restaurant. I don't know if you've noticed. In order to get out, they have the door locked.
Oh yeah, they gotta.
but see, that's-
gotta
And,
buzz
and
you
somebody
out.
has to like put in it, and I'm like, why is the door locked? Why is the door? Why are we
That's a
locked in here?
That's a very, I don't know, like, I don't know how many businesses you visited in David, but it's very common for
Is
people
it?
to have to
Oh, yeah.
buzz you in. And also in Panama
But
City
buzz
as
you
well.
out. Buzz you out too.
Oh, well, yeah, that
Yeah.
is kind of weird that you
Yeah.
have to get buzzed out,
Yeah,
too.
it's a one-way buzzer thing. Gotta
Yeah.
get
Kind of
each
makes
time,
sense
I
if they've
guess.
had people, dine and
Yeah,
dash. I
I
guess.
guess.
Yeah, well, that's one way to stop
Oh,
that.
but
Yeah.
that
that's
makes
probably it.
sense.
Yeah.
I
You
didn't
could
know
dine and run for the door.
like,
Open the
pay your
door.
bill.
Buzz me out. Well, you haven't paid, have you?
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, you know who has a really great burger? The Boom Boom Burger at Big Daddy's.
Oh,
Remember them?
Thank you,
Yeah.
Patrick.
You know what? I'm a big fan of their boom boom anything.
Yeah,
Anything
yeah.
that they're
Boom,
putting boom
anything.
boom on is like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
No, it's really cool. I mean, and I gotta honestly say, going back to just this community is so awesome
It
and
rocks.
cool. Yeah, it's awesome. Because I mean, I think of now when I walk around town and all the friends and everybody, and you kind of wave and I mean, it's like
Well, everybody must know
Well,
you.
but yeah, and I was telling someone, I said, I think every restaurant in town, I either know the owner, people that work there, or
Right.
people
Yeah.
that are sitting there, and it's a cool thing. It's
Right.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
getting back to Chef Chris, I think they have a challenge. Don't they have a hamburger challenge or something? Like a huge hamburger?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like it's a hamburger the size of a 4-year-old child.
That's crazy.
And
That's
if
Now-
you can eat the whole thing, they give you a free session with a defibrillator.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was going to say that's about all that you're
If anybody wants to see who I think is the most incredible competition eater, I think his channel's called Beard Meets Food. Have you ever heard of this guy?
Oh, yeah,
Beard Meets Food. He has a long beard,
Yeah.
and he's a thin guy. You know, you always think like these competition eaters are going to be like these huge. They're not. He's not.
Yeah.
You know, like Kobayashi with the hot dogs.
Yeah.
He's a thin guy.
How old is this guy with
This
the beard?
guy, I would probably put him in maybe late 20s, 30s,
Okay.
something like that.
Well, I could eat like that, and I was a thin guy in my 20s. Watch out, dude. Your future is sitting right here.
No. You have not seen this guy eat. This
No,
guy,
I'm sure I couldn't eat like
he
that, but-
destroys all the food competitions that are crazy. You know, they bring out like some platter of food, and your first thought is, nobody can eat that. Nobody
And
can
then
eat
he
that much
polishes it off.
because they're timed also. Like you
Yeah.
have 50 minutes to eat this.
Yeah.
And the guy, I saw him, there was a competition with a huge pizza, a pizza like the size of this table.
Wow.
That was for 2 people. And it had all kinds of toppings and stuff like that. And the previous record was something like 25 minutes.
Yeah.
But I think they only did it one time. They did it in under 20 minutes.
2 people ate this giant pizza in under 20 minutes.
Giant pizza that you'd think
Yeah,
it's
it's
impossible.
ridiculous.
It's impossible.
That
Yeah.
goes between
Yeah.
bizarre and
I
ridiculous.
don't know. I always used to think that I can eat a lot. Not when you compare yourself to this guy.
Yeah,
No.
Beard meets food, incredible guy.
So yeah, we should have that
Yeah.
kind of thing here too.
No.
I could be reading. I could be reading the classics or studying something.
You
but
watch
I'm
people,
watching people eat food on YouTube.
It's a thing. I mean, but it's
Yeah.
a
An incredible
thing. Yeah,
man.
it's a thing. No, so I mean, I'm super involved in food now. I mean, and I think it was cool going back to Panama City even for a few days because you start to see all your foodie friends and
Yeah.
everything. You know, now the different take on it, obviously focusing on the foundation stuff and everything, it's super interesting because I mean your world still revolves around food. It's just a different way. So.
Do you have your favorite places in Panama City to eat, and do you reveal them to your friends?
I do tell people. Yeah, like I do tell people. Because again, we're talking about a very like kind of small type of group of people, but yeah, no, I love Fonda Lo Que Hay in Casco Viejo. It has a lot of really cool like traditional Panamanian dishes, and it's just a really cool vibe place. And actually,
Does that mean the fonda that isn't there?
no,
or
the
something?
fonda with what's there is
With
what
what's there.
Yeah,
Oh.
fonda lo que hay. It's like whatever it is that's there. But I mean, obviously, it's kind of this way of. Because some tourists may never make it to a fonda, so it has this fonda vibe. But I mean, it's a very nice restaurant. It's actually been nominated one of Latin America's best restaurants. Also, Intimo by Chef Chombolin has also been nominated as one of Latin America's good restaurants. Cantina El Tigre by Fulvio is also really good.
Wow.
Yeah, La Tapa del Coco, which is Isaac Villaverde, which he's promoting a lot of Afro-Panamanian cuisine.
Right.
Because that's a part of, most of the time or before, if you wanted to have really good Afro-Panamanian foods, you were actually going into some of these neighborhoods where some people didn't feel safe.
Okay.
So then what he does is he opens a Afro-Panamanian restaurant in an area of Panama called San Francisco, which is, more hipster, more
See.
cool.
Hipster.
And so then now you have this place where people are eating traditional.
What kind of food? What kind of things would I get at an Afro-Pan? This is new to me.
So Afro-Panamanians, it takes a lot from like the Jamaican type food. So you're going to have your, cod fritters. You're going to have your rice and your like seafood. You're going to have like spicy empanadas. You're going to have it take almost on like a spicy chicken. Everything is more spicy.
Spicy, yeah.
because
That
it
sounds
takes
delicious.
from the Jamaican type of cuisine. So it's very similar. You're going to drink like your sorrel drinks or your isinglass, which is made of like seaweed, but very seafood based. And
Okay.
again, because these
Yeah.
are from the coast.
I think I
things-
need a more Eastern European, Panamanian kind of mix, kind of like borscht mixed
Something a
with
little-
empanadas
You
or
may
something
you
like
may
that.
find something.
A little less spicy
for
for
you.
the,
But no, it's so
for the
good.
European,
the other cuisine that I love going to Panama City and experiencing is the Chinese Panamanian cuisine. What a lot of people don't really understand. Actually, yesterday was the 169th anniversary of Chinese Panamanian
Relations.
whatever. Because most people don't understand. Many Chinese people came over with the French. So you're talking about Chinese people that were here before Panama even became a country.
Wow.
So they're fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh generation Chinese Panamanians. And so they've created their own type of fusion cuisine. If you go to there's been marked Chinatowns. One used to be close to Casco Viejo, and now you have one close to the neighborhood of El Dorado. And you go through there, and everything's in Cantonese. And everything, it's amazing. There's a friend of mine that does food tours through there. And that's another thing I've talked to her about, saying that'd be really cool to take a group from Boquete, because we go with one of my best friends. He's Chinese Panamanian, and he's a chef, and he goes through and kind of talks to you about all of this. But yeah, I mean, when
those fusion restaurants, I think, can really, be super good, because I know in New York I went to one that was Cuban Chinese, Chinese, and that was like amazing.
It's interesting, and I think a lot of times when we think about what it means to be Panamanian, Panama has this really unique, because of just how small we are, of the melting pot that it is, because of things like the Panama Canal that brought all of these different types of people and cuisines and everything. So it's like, what does it mean to look Panamanian? It's all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's interesting, and I think many of the people I talk to, when they find out, it's like, no, we have an amazing Chinatown that looks like Chinatown in like New York or San Francisco or anything. That people are like, Panama, what? And
I know. I totally get that. When I first came here, we first came here in 2005 just to visit in Panama City, and first of all, I was surprised at how much French food there was, French restaurants, And I guess, I'm coming from total ignorance, and I had no idea.
Well, you've had French fries.
Well,
you like those.
They're Belgian, damn it.
Oh, sorry.
They're not really
French toast.
But, I had no idea the actual diversity of food and ethnicity that is here in Panama. And
well, I know, I don't know where I was, but I was in Panama City in a mall, and it must have been around that Chinatown that you're talking about, or one of those Chinatowns, because the entire mall was pretty much Chinese. And as I was walking around, there were a lot of food play you can get, and it was funny, because you know how in the States they have these, or they used to have anyway, mall walkers, people who would go walk in the mall.
Yeah, I did that.
Or just, so they had a large, it wasn't really, well, it was a food court. It was a food court. And it was just filled with old Chinese people and me that day eating whatever I was eating. I don't remember, but it was so cool. They were walking around, and I felt like, there's a Chinatown in New York. I felt like I was in Chinatown in New York.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it's really cool to be able to kind of experience that, and especially the influences that it's had on our food, because in Panama City, to have a weekend breakfast, if you say we're going for breakfast on a Sunday morning, it's dim sum. It's complete. I mean, that's the tradition. It's like, if you're going for weekend breakfast in the morning, you're going out and you're going to several different Lung Fong or some certain places, and you're going to have dim sum.
I love dim sum.
That's part of the tradition, with the little carts and everything. I mean, it's the whole experience.
The only thing I couldn't find, I could find, I wanted to get a wok, but not, when you go to like a regular store and you look for a wok, the woks are pretty junky. They're terrible. I bought one, and it was black, but it was like painted on or something. Because it started flaking off. I was like, this is not good.
This is not good.
This is not good. So I was in this mall, and I said, if there's ever a place I can, and I could find a wok there,
Yeah.
but it was like a huge commercial wok. Like if you're feeding 100 people, and you have that big commercial stove with that. You ever see that flame they use?
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
like a jet engine in there. What is
Weld
that
with
thing,
that, yeah.
You can't get that hot in your house. You know?
Yeah.
You have this jet engine, and the big wok like this. And if you ever notice, they always do this like wok dance.
Oh,
yeah.
And they're,
Yeah.
like, going back. So I said, don't Chinese people have a personal wok? Like I couldn't
Sure,
find one. I
absolutely.
couldn't find
Oh,
one.
we had one.
Did you?
Yeah. We didn't bring it here with
Let me
us,
see. Let
but-
me talk to some of
All
my
right,
friends.
all
I
right.
got people. My
But I
people will
want that
contact your
block,
people.
That black, whatever material, that's
Yeah.
like really. I don't want the,
Now you
foo-foo
want
commercial.
now you want a good carbon steel
carbon
wok
steel. That's what it is.
that you
Carbon
have
steel.
to oil it and take care
Okay,
of
then
it.
yeah. My people will
You have
get
to season
in
it.
touch
All right.
with your people.
Okay.
We'll see. If
I
we
don't
can
have
do-
people, but
Try
that's why I
Amazon.
don't have a wok. If I had people, maybe I'd have a wok.
But yeah, no. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's part of the whole thing that's really interesting to kind of be able to share and talk about is how rich and diverse. And what someone was interviewing me the other day, asking me about how I see the food scene here in Panama. One of the things that I'm really excited about is watching it now go back to these traditional flavors. I think that there was a generation of Panamanians that looked to the outside and said, I want to be more like them, whatever is, Western culture, cuisines. And then they studied abroad and now they're coming back home and they're saying, wait a second, no, like I want to use the things that I've learned in these other countries, but I want to use our local produce. I want to
Right.
cook over open flame. I want to be a part of all of this. And so it's kind of changing the way that we see the scene. And it's actually like, I don't know, we don't have it yet on Disney Plus here, but Rolando Chamorro from Hacienda Mamecillo being featured on National Geographic's new Restaurants at the Edge of the World or something like that. And that's here in Jaramillo.
Wow.
Hacienda
Really?
Mamecillo is right here in Jaramillo.
Wow.
Yeah, so it came out on National
Say the name of the restaurant again.
Hacienda Mamecillo.
Mamacillo.
Mama Seal. I
Mama
believe
Seal.
I have heard of that.
Yeah, and so once it hasn't been released on Disney Plus here in Panama yet, but the idea is there's Kristen Kitsch, which is a famous chef, came here to Boquete and actually went and filmed in this restaurant. And a lot of it is just because Rolando is using local products, he's cooking, and so these are kind of the things that as this continues to be more of the trend, you're going to have more Panamanians saying, hey, like cooking Panamanian food is cool, and it doesn't necessarily have to be just cheap cafeteria style. It can
Right.
actually be elevated, and we can promote it very much as a tourism product like Peru has done with things like
Right.
ceviche. And
But,
so
but there are so many hidden gems here also in Boquete. And I've noticed a trend, like I guess from around the world of food trucks.
Yeah.
There are food trucks now.
Yeah.
There's that parking lot across. We love the tacos and
Taco Rudos.
Taco
Rudos,
yeah, I actually
but
saw them this morning.
across the street, I noticed there's a couple of food trucks.
Yeah, so
there's
there
a food truck
was.
near Plaza San Francisco that I
Yes.
pass all the time.
Yeah, so it's really interesting because there is a really big food truck culture in Panama City.
Yeah. Oh, really?
But what ends up happening in Panama City is the amount of restaurants per capita for people is ridiculous. I
Yeah.
mean, so you have all kinds of stuff. So now some of these people are saying, hey, what would happen if I opened my restaurant, in the interior? So the idea for this spot that is across from Tacos Rudos in the future is to feature some of these food trucks from Panama City.
Oh, excellent.
And
Really?
kind of bringing some of those
Wow.
into, because these are people that have these food trucks in Panama City selling various things from fried chicken to whatever. And the idea is to be able to feature some of those here. So I think as time goes on, we're going to start actually seeing a lot of different Panamanian owned type concept.
Oh,
and
that's
it's going to be
excellent.
really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
So-
Calling all food trucks. Calling all food trucks.
Exactly, yeah.
Come
so
right
it'd be really
away.
cool.
Come to
Yeah.
Boquete.
Right away.
Right
Yeah.
away. We need you.
Yeah.
Stat.
Yeah, so it'll be really cool. And I think it'll kind of elevate it because I think, healthy competition is good for everybody, and so it makes
It
you really
is.
up
It
the
is.
game. And I don't see it as a threat for the people that are already here. I think it just says, hey, like, we're going to innovate.
Yeah.
We're going to work together.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
This-
I think that's true. Like when we have those holidays where the town is packed, and a lot of locals don't like to see that. I mean, a lot of gringos feel like they're put out or something.
Yeah.
But I think it's great.
It's great,
because
absolutely.
that people are eating out, restaurants are full. People are they deserve to make money.
Try
they
to-
really do.
Try to walk into a restaurant without a reservation on Mother's Day. It's not going to happen.
Right, that's
You know,
true.
it's
That's true.
the place is
but
packed.
I'd like to point out because and Patrick knows about this. We recently, I'm not going to mention the name of the restaurant because
Yeah.
it would not be cool.
Yeah.
But we went out for breakfast with a group, and I always think of going out with a group like it's an opportunity for the restaurant, And this was breakfast. And they just dropped the ball. I'm not going to say who it was,
Yeah.
but they didn't.
Yeah, it was a
bring
little
us-
disappointing.
Yeah.
And normally we love their food. Normally everything is great.
We wouldn't
but
go there otherwise.
And I think it's one of those things where I've been around in the business long enough to be the one that the ball was dropped on and to be the one that drops the ball.
Uh-huh.
And so I've learned to be very compassionate, but I've also learned that there are things that you can put into place. And one of the biggest things I learned from Disney is just being honest with people up front.
Right.
And just saying, hey, setting the expectation early on of saying, hey, we're really busy right now. It's going to take an hour or 2 hours.
Oh,
Would
yeah,
you like
yeah,
to wait
yeah.
around? Just kind of, there's a kind of a bad habit sometimes, and I've fallen into that sometimes as well, is you don't want to let people down.
Right.
And so then you kind of like, no, don't worry, the 5 minutes. It's only going to be 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. And we're not realizing the harm that we're doing from the customer service side. So
Right.
I always tell people, just
Right.
be honest with people. Like, tell
Be
them,
honest, yeah.
hey, I'm new. I don't know what I'm doing. Oops, I forgot. There is this part of just kind of really being honest. From Disney, they made us wear, when you were new, they made you wear a thing that said, I'm earning my ears.
uh-huh.
And earning your ears was something that really helped the company separate themselves from all your mistakes.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, that's the new girl.
Yeah.
But it
Ah.
also gave you the grace to be able to say, hey, I'm really new
I'm
here.
new, yeah,
I don't know what I'm
yeah.
doing. And I took that over in when I started working at Boulder. At Boulder, I'd never opened up my own bottle of wine. And
Oh,
so,
fun.
one day we were really busy, and I happened to be waiting on the table for the owners of one of the biggest liquor distributing
Oh,
companies
wow.
in Panama.
Oh, really?
And this is me botching how to open, but I was so
The
honest
cork
with them.
is floating in the wine.
I'm like, look, you guys. I'm talking to them. I'm like, look, I'm a banker. I've only been here for a few months. I apologize. I don't know what I'm doing. This is no reflection on the restaurant. This is all me.
There you go.
They ended up
Yeah.
opening their own bottle. They still tipped me.
It's-
But-
Well, that's nice of them.
yeah, but and then he came
Well,
back.
it kind of is a reflection, though, on the restaurant, because they shouldn't have somebody who doesn't know how to open a bottle of wine open the wine.
I
you know,
agree,
in a
but
way.
I
it's-
think and I think one of those things. Sometimes it's such a fast-paced environment that
Right.
you need people to just kind of get in there and just work. And I
Yeah.
think sometimes it works and sometimes it
Well,
doesn't.
I think
but-
the biggest issue, though, with any company, restaurant, business, that the customers are not experiencing a good time with the staff, and the biggest issue to my mind is training.
is
Management
training.
needs to train the staff, and these poor people get the brunt of the bad reviews and the insults, and
They do.
You know,
Sometimes it's out of their control,
Yeah,
but
sometimes.
Yeah.
other times it's just, for instance, in our case recently at breakfast, people want their coffee. Just bring the coffee.
No, there's
just
no coffee.
Do that first. Don't make
Yeah.
people wait an hour.
and I think too there's a thing that I also learned on at Disney while my time there was, you can be off task but on mission, and I think that that's something that can be incorporated and can really help people, which this means do that. So you have this fear of an employee taking a situation into their own hands and rectifying it because they're scared of they're going to get in trouble. And so I think that there is a lot of kind of education that can go around.
Well,
to help everybody.
I've told this story many, many times from my childhood. childhood. I started working when I was pretty young. I might have been 15 years old, and I was a busboy for a catering company. You know, we did bar mitzvahs and weddings and things like that. And my very first event, whatever it was, busboy just cleans up the dishes. You know, that's all. There's no training. You know, just take the dishes, bring them into the kitchen. Take the dishes, bring them into the kitchen. But they had a thing called a Viennese table. You ever hear of that? Viennese table? It's they wheel out a table filled with desserts.
Ooh.
Yeah, and not just one. I mean, there's like 4 tables, and they make like a rectangle, and all the wait staff stands in the middle. And it was my first day, and I'm like looking like, what do I do? So my boss says, stand behind a cake and cut the cake. I go, okay, I can do that, you know?
Yeah.
But what I didn't know, the cake is like 24 inches, you know? So I'm making, you know, and they have these little like dessert plates. Mm-hmm. So I cut the first piece, and it's hanging over the plate, literally hanging over the plate. And I give it, and the guy, you know, his eyes like light up. He's like, oh my God. And before I know it, they're, Marie, come here. Look at the pieces of cake this guy is giving. You know, and I have like a group around me, you know, like a crowd around me. They all want this cake. And I don't know what to do, so I just keep cutting pieces of cake, and they're flopping over they're over the edge of the plate, and I keep giving them out. He said, cut the cake. I'm cutting the cake. You know? And my boss sees this, you know, and he's like fuming. Yeah. And he comes over, and I'm like, you said cut the cake. I don't, you know what?
Yeah.
What you were supposed to do is cut a circle within the cake so you have 2 pieces.
Yeah,
you know?
but no
I'm
one
like,
told you.
Yeah, did they?
Like 14, 15 years old. Nobody told me.
They told you to cut the cake. They
cut
didn't.
the cake. You
cut
they
the
didn't
cake.
teach you how to cut the
Cut
cake.
the cake. You make a slice of cake.
You know, and
so
I think that goes into a bigger discussion of kind of everything, and it's kind of what we're doing with the foundation as well, is that, you know, we're going into these communities, and you're assuming that they know how to cut the cake, and they don't.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
then there's a learning curve that goes into kind of everything, and this thing that says, you know, do you understand what I'm telling you? And then it's like, I think so, and then find out they don't, and then you go back and forth. And I think that it's the bigger thing of, I mean, it's the responsibility of, you know, because everybody's definition of cutting cake is going to be completely different, you know, and I think it goes into just everything, you know, everybody's definition of customer service, everybody's definition of helping, everybody's definition of everything. It's like, so... But I mean,
absolutely. You know what? I want to just touch on a quick thing that you reminded me of when you're talking about the fondas, which I love. Mm-hmm. It's a great, delicious, low-cost food, and there's a variety of fondas. But you made a comment about expats are not familiar with them. They don't go to them as much as they should. And one of the things, Priscilla, that I think that you do is you get expats to go a little bit beneath the surface. You encourage people to go deeper and, you know, go deeper into the rich community that Panama is.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I did not know there was Afro-Panamanian food kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. We would love to have more of that up here in Boquete.
For sure. And actually was talking to the chef while I was there in Panama City and saying, hey, we would love to do an event up here and bring that, because it is a part of our story. And when we're talking about, you know, the Afro experience in Panama, we're talking about actually 2 waves. So you're talking about the waves that came over as slaves with the Spanish, and they had a completely different, they're bringing some of their culture directly from Africa and mixing it with Spanish indigenous. And then you have the ones that came with the building of the canal, which are already bringing over their more Jamaican, Caribbean type influence. And so then it's all really represented in our food, in our instruments, in even the traditional dresses of some of these regions reflects this type of Afro type of experience. One of the things that I love to tell the story is if you look at the pollera, which is the traditional dress of Colon, you'll notice that it's patchwork. It's all of these different colors of different patchworks. And that comes from the fact of when these women who needed to also wear dresses, they were given the straps of material. And so then they would just put together their dresses with whatever colors were left over from their master's whatever.
Wow.
And so
Right.
then it's
Fascinating.
become now their traditional dress. But, there's a lot of study going in to really study all of these. But there was palenques here, just similar to like the Afro-Colombian. So all of that
Do
stuff.
the other dresses from other provinces, do they have differences?
Yeah, so
too?
yes. So
They do.
you'll have each dress may have something different. Some of them are more what they would call campesino, which would be more of the everyday to day, and then you
Right.
have, because those dresses representative hierarchies in society and still do.
Oh.
But Panama is still very classist.
Yes.
So there is a lot of things that divide just by the way people talk, the way they look, the way
Right,
everything. And so
right.
then it was the same thing back then and
Yeah.
there. So there's a lot of really rich history here. The thing in Chiriquí is it's always been more of the farmers and everything. So this isn't really what people would consider like the cradle of Panamanian folklore. But if you go into some of what they call the central provinces, you'll see a lot
Right.
of this traditional type of things, even from the instruments, the guitar. And they have festivals to celebrate everything.
Wow.
So you have the festival of the traditional guitar, you have the festival of the painted hat, you have the festival of the pollera. And I mean, they go through their whole existence celebrating all kinds of stuff that's part of this traditional.
Oh, that's
type of thing.
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, one thing I want to touch on, make sure we get to it since you're here, because you cover so many things.
So
so
many
things. It's incredible. Really, I am so impressed. But the one thing that I find really great is you somehow collect vegetables, right? From farmers or restaurant, or
Yes.
somehow you get vegetables.
Yes.
And you get a group of people together and you cut up
Yes.
these vegetables, and then the vegetables are used in the
In the
school.
schools, yes.
Yeah, in the schools. So tell people about that and how they can get involved if
Yeah,
they would like to.
so starting off really kind, Fundación Rescate de Alimentos has been around for a really long.
Say that
You know what I mean?
más despacio. porfa.
Fundación Rescate de Alimentos, which means Rescuing Food Foundation, which is
Yes.
Fundación de Rescate de Alimentos.
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 Alimentos,
Ooh,
yeah.
I said it.
Yeah.
So Fundación Rescate de Alimentos was actually started by Chef Hernan Riesen in Panama City in 2017 because he started noticing that vegetables were being just thrown away at
Right.
all of the markets. And so then he got together with a lot of his chef friends, one of them being my friend Elga, and they said, hey, we've got to do something with this. Let's, people are starving to death and we're throwing away food. And so that's what they started. They started really putting connections, working with a lot of the local distributors in Panama City.
Right.
And then the pandemic came and they actually started running a soup kitchen
Right.
in one of the poorer neighborhoods, and they were delivering. I mean, I want to say they almost delivered 300,000 things of food. I mean,
Wow.
they were shelling out food every day. When the floods happened in Volcan,
Yeah.
they also came over and they shelled
Wow.
out food to Sinaproc and
Wow.
all of the people that were working also along with the community. Then last year we began working on this pilot program of kind of saying, rescuing food and having soup kitchens is just a Band-Aid. It's
Right.
not a full-on
Yes.
solution. So we started saying, what would it look to be sustainable? And so sustainability said, hey, the vegetables are being thrown away right here.
Right.
What about if we go into a school and we train the mothers and we work with them and we actually turn a project over to them, and then we can move on to another school. And so that's what we started last year. I collect vegetables. We collect vegetables from a lot of the local farms. Agroyico, which shameless plug, he opened up his new little vegetable stand right next to the car wash, 1911. So
Okay.
Agroyico, you can visit him.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
La Granjerita, which is up in El Salto. We work with hydroponics a farm in Potrerillos, and just other people that will call us, and bring us things. And what ended up happening is I got together a group of expats that I found out it's like, hey, people really like to drink wine. So we started Veggie and Wine about a year ago. And what Veggie and Wine does is we meet once a week and I bring all of these vegetables together and people chop them up and we process them. And then that's what we deliver to the schools. We deliver to several schools actually because there's so much food waste going on
Right.
that there's no way that I could keep them all in my freezer at our
Sure.
school. So we take some to Volcancito, to Jaramillo Abajo,
That is great.
to La Estrella. And we also rescue things that people don't think about. So a Boquete seafood market is now part of our alliances
wow.
because
Cool.
fish heads. Fish heads, so when you go and buy your nice, wonderful fillet of fish, there's stuff that's left over, and this can be turned into an amazing broth
Oh,
for the
yeah.
kids.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
fish heads are part of the things that
How
we rescue.
cool is that?
Torore
Really?
Ranch, which is they grow chickens and cows and things like that. They'll give us, beef bones to make beef broth soup. They'll also give us chicken bones. So when you order your chicken breast and it's all clean and everything with that bone that's left behind, well, we can get that and we actually make broth out of that and actually get some meat from that.
Tremendous.
Because of one of our chef friends in Panama City, we have an alliance with KFC. And so anytime any chicken is poorly breaded or it's too big or too small for their size standards, we actually get those as well. And so we
that
use
is
that
great.
as
That's amazing.
well.
Well, tell us how and where can people get involved with
So,
wine and chopping?
Yeah, so people can reach out to me. My phone number is 6635-0628. You can reach out. You can send me a WhatsApp and say, we do ask people to bring their own cutting boards and knives. We provide the wine. There is a small donation of $5 that we use towards petty cash to buy things that we can't
Okay.
rescue. But outside of that, it's a really fun group of people. We get together Tuesdays at Meye Bonore, right in the center of
Bonore.
Meye Bonore. It's
May.
the place that's decorated
Yeah.
with like pallets on the
Yeah,
inside.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
a fonda, and we get there together and we chop veggies
Tuesdays
and have
at
Tuesdays at 4:00.
4:00.
Mm-hmm.
Bring your own cutting board and knife.
Yes, and
I
make sure
provide
they're
the
sharp.
knife. Yep, and I provide the wine. So
All right.
we
excellent.
have, if anybody's interested, I have a veggie volunteer chat group on WhatsApp that I inform people about what's going on, send pictures. Everybody's kind of created relationships with the community, so it's a fun way to share stuff as
Excellent.
well.
Yeah.
That
man,
is
that
one
is-
of the best things you do, I think. I mean,
Yeah.
you do a lot of great things, but that, feeding kids,
It's so
essentially.
much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
can tell that you're having a great time doing it. You're having a great time talking about
And
it.
I love that you say you're rescuing
Rescuing.
vegetables,
Yeah,
like,
we're rescuing
like they're
vegetables.
Veggie
wildlife,
rescue.
and like they're animals and
Yeah,
with a
so-
broken leg or something.
Yeah, we're rescuing. We're
these.
rescuing the vegetables. I mean, as part of the working towards sustainability, you're saying, hey, if it's someone's trash, it's
I
someone
had a
else's
slightly
treasure.
damaged
You know what?
eggplant I had
Yeah.
to
Snap your
rescue.
picture real quick.
Yeah.
That's a good smile
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, I know.
So
I
it's
know.
exciting.
Wow.
But thank you guys for having me. I think we've talked all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
Well, that's we're going to have you on a regular basis because
Yeah,
you
for
always have so
sure.
much going on.
And when other guests don't make it for one reason or
I
another,
know. Just
it's
give me.
probably my fault.
we
I
were
told them the
supposed to have
wrong
another
direction.
guest today,
Yes.
and we apologize.
Yes.
We
I
will
talked the whole time.
have
so-
them.
That's
Oh, you're
great.
we had no idea when we started this show. We thought we would be talking mostly to musicians, which we do a lot. And then we started talking about food. Last week we had Piero on from the goat farm, and we had great stories. I never thought we'd have such great stories
It's
from
awesome.
farmers.
Goat farming is fascinating.
It's fascinating.
I think you open up a space for people to share, and
Yeah.
then you kind of get really shocked because you have this idea, and I think it's with everything. You have this idea of what a project's going to be,
Yeah.
and then it turns into something completely different.
Well, Piero doesn't know this, but next week we're talking to some of the goats to see if they can.
You saying
What he
I like
said,
this.
because
I like
he did
this.
say some things about goats that they might take the
I
wrong
like
way.
this, and I think you should
Yeah.
bring on some of the vegetables so that they can talk
will.
about how they
We
feel
will.
about being
Yeah.
rescued.
We're
They
all
might
about
say, yeah,
equal
rescue.
time.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't call it rescuing. But
Yeah.
Rescue the veggies.
rescue the veggies.
No, but you do great work. You take
Thank
care
you.
of people. You put people in touch with people. You give people educations that I've gotten education today.
Yeah.
Just
And you
about every
notice
time.
Priscilla always has a smile.
I did.
I don't know how you do it, But if you have a choice between a person with a smile and a person with kind of like a dour look, you're gonna go with the smile.
Go with the
It's
smile,
just the way it is.
And I think the coolest part about it is I think that I'm really happy. I think when you can tell when someone's really found their place in the world,
Yeah,
and I
absolutely.
think it's just
Yeah.
kind of radiates and whatever. And so I
definitely.
think with all this project and more of just the support from the community,
Yeah.
like it makes you really happy when it's kind of like you put this crazy idea out there really quick. We took the kids rock climbing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I saw
So you kind of
pictures.
put it out there like, hey, I would love for people to help me sponsor kids to go rock climbing. And it's just like the whoosh, the amount of support. You're like, oh my goodness, this is awesome.
That's incredible.
So,
Hey, I just thought of a great drinking game.
What's that?
Every time Priscilla says community,
Yeah.
you take a
Take a
shot.
oh my God, everybody's going to be trashed.
But don't play that game during the veggie cutting.
No, or before.
yeah,
No, you don't
yeah.
want to do
So
that.
far, I can report that no one has gotten seriously injured.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
you
kind
know,
of shocking. in a
Yeah,
way.
yeah. So no one's gotten seriously injured. So it is a safe
I have to
sport
say,
be a part of.
I always plan on going. I went one time. It was kind of accidentally. I wasn't planning. I just stayed.
And we put you to
And
work.
it was so much fun. And I have to go again. I have to go. It is so much fun. A great bunch of people. The vegetables are very nice too. They're very pleasant.
Yeah, they're very pleasant.
Thank
They
you
hardly
for
ever talk back.
rescuing me. They say.
Oh yeah, and they know that then I'm gonna burn them or freeze them.
And it's not competitive at all. You go at your own pace.
Yeah, I mean it's and it's also.
Except when somebody who's a former chef shows up.
Oh yeah.
And then they're like show off. Yeah.
Yeah, but
They're
no,
like,
I mean, I always try to tell people, like, people will message me in the group and be like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't make it. And I try to really tell people, like, this is really voluntary.
Yeah.
We're not a formal group.
Right.
If you can't make it, it's fine.
world won't stop.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people that are just part of the chat and they
Yeah.
never show up. And there's
Ah.
some people that always show up. I mean, it's a very eclectic group. It's just any way that people can be involved. I mean, even you just bringing these cards, like, I mean, it's very just do it at your own pace and help however you can. So.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's a great message.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's a great thing.
so I want to thank you, Priscilla, for being with us today.
Hey, real quick before we go,
Yeah.
I just want to give a shout out to my buddy Ron Harris. He's in the hospital. He's going to have some surgery tomorrow.
Yeah, Ron,
And
we wish you all the best.
hey, buddy, you were all pulling for you down here in Boquete. You got tons of friends who are just sending you nothing but good juju, brother.
Yes.
Also, to my wife, Gabrielle, I love you.
Yeah. And we want to thank Priscilla again for for being our one and only guest on the show. And how much time do we have left? Let's see.
We're
We're
done.
done.
Done? Have we
We're
been done a long
We've gone
time ago?
All right. Well.